Hi everyone, welcome to the Hunyah Show. Today we'll be discussing mental health and relationships as mental health plays a huge impact in relationships. As we are approaching Valentine's Day 2022, let's discuss today. Today on the Hunyah Show, our guest is an all-rounder, a mother, a registered nurse, a mental health advocate, a mindset coach and author, and an actress, Parm Sran. She launched her book discussing mental health, and she recently been on screen in a South Asian film about mental health. Today, we'll be discussing everything to do with mental health and relationships and how it impacts everyone. So, welcome, Parm Sran. It is a pleasure to
Thank
have you on my
you.
show. I know, like we've been talking back and forth on emails and Facebook. So, I know you've been doing a lot.
Thank you so much, Hunyah. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so my first question is, Parm, I know you launched a book on mental health recently. You've achieved many things in 2022. I would like to know, what can viewers expect from you to find in the new book?
So this is my book, if you can see.
Yes, I see
So
it.
it's called On Your Life, Create As You Go. As the name says, it's all about the tools and techniques that you will need to have an empowerment on yourself so that you can create a life for yourself and you can live a life that you always dream. So this book is basically came out of my own experiences of life, my own struggles with bullying, with rejection, with mental health challenges. So it's not only about the challenges, it's all also about how I overcame them. And I have included so many of those techniques that any reader or learner can use them, and they helped me, so they will definitely help them too.
That's interesting because I think I could relate to you as like when you talk about bullying, mental health challenges. I've had the same struggles too for like a long time. And the thing is, we still face it no matter what. Bullying can happen at work, it could happen anywhere. There's no end to it, right? You just need to figure out how to deal with any needed tools. So,
Yes.
yeah. Moving on to my next question. Parm, Valentine's Day 2022 is arriving soon. How does mental health impact different types of relationships? For example, siblings, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, parenting, husband-wife relationship, every day. What would you say to this?
So mental health definitely, if it's a challenge, it affects the relationships, that's for sure. The main thing is, how much do we understand mental health? That is the question. So if anyone is going through any mental health challenges, I would request them to acknowledge that and then seek help. Because the more you delay it, the more worse it gets, and the more hard it is to come out of it. I am working as mental health advocate. I'm a registered nurse, and my specialty is mental health. So I'm working with people who are living with mental health challenges on everyday basis. And my mission is to create as much awareness as I can about mental illnesses and create a dialogue so that people start talking about it as a norm, so that people don't hesitate to talk about mental illness, whereas that is the case nowadays. And I would love people to talk about it as any physical illness, as we share with our relatives, with our families. If you have a headache or you have a migraine or you get diagnosed with any type of cancers, you do share with the family, right? So why
Right.
don't we share if you have depression, if you have anxiety, why don't we share that with the
Like with
relatives?
me, like I've noticed like when you talk about mental health with your sibling, if you face something, like yeah, you can talk about it very easily. But when you try to talk with it, like when you do a session about mental health and it's that, and when you feel that there's something like around with your colleagues, that is a problem in my opinion. Because your colleagues, they're like, no, we're promoting this. But what are you promoting to your own workplace, right? You're not promoting mental health, healthy mental health like lifestyle. And often in relationships, due to what I know, mental health in husband-wife relationship, it comes up a lot where in my opinion, because I know because I have been in one, and with me like it's a pretty long story, like the guy's birthday is on August 1st, same month as mine. Like what I know is the thing is mental health, it was just taken as a negative thing, like no one would let me and him talk, and that occurred a lot in there, and eventually it didn't end up working. But I'm still in touch with him. I still talk to him in a way, in a different way. It's not the same thing, and there's nothing wrong with keeping in touch with the same person in that after the relationship ended, right? So that's pretty much where I am. So we're on good terms. But what I did notice is in there that whenever you mention mental health, it's like it shouldn't be a negative thing, because all I got told is like, no, that okay, just because I'm facing something, it should be talked about. No, it just goes out into the trash when it should be discussed, right? So that
Yes.
I could relate to.
So
And
it should be a norm. If it becomes a norm in the family, then it will definitely become a norm in the society and in the world. But because it's not a norm, that's why it creates a friction in the relationships. Because most of the time, family members, they don't understand what the other person is going through.
yeah,
If the
and they
person
just
is
keep
with
yelling.
depression,
Like with me personally, like I actually feel my like I'm actually I talk to my siblings about relationships and all of these things every time when I feel like I need a counselor, right? Because I feel like it's better to talk to your siblings than talk to anyone else outside. Although I've been recommended to go to psychotherapy, that's one of the things. But what I've seen is that people just get up and yell because they think that no, mental health is like something really bad. It's not that bad, right? And if you have mental health issues in your relationship, it should be talked. It could be in any relationship, siblings, acquaintances, work, friends, husband, wife. It should be talked about it, and that's what we don't see. And I feel your book your book that you have released, that you've launched, that it does discuss these things too, right? Mental health and relationships, I believe.
yes, yes, it
Mhm.
does. It does. In fact, it does. Again, if you can only talk about these things if you have knowledge about these things. But again, in the family, you shouldn't be hiding how you are feeling. That's the main thing. Even if it's a brother, sister, if it's a spouse, if it's children, you shouldn't be hiding those things, because only if you will tell, then people will understand, okay, what you are going through.
Because
And
of
then
COVID-19, like we've noticed, there's a lot of more domestic abuse cases, mental health abuse cases, because people are not able to go to counselor, and that affects a person. That affects a woman's mental health even more, right? For someone who's in a domestic abuse relationship, or even a mental, or even physical abuse, or any kind of abuse. Because in COVID right now, we don't have that option.
yes, the reason there has been a rise in the domestic violence cases during COVID is, one, people have been home, they had more time to stay together, so they came to know each other more. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of knowing each other from a trust perspective or from a sympathetic perspective, they have been kind of trying to know each other from kind of finding faults. That's why
True.
there has been more abusive relationships during the COVID. And plus, people are stressed, and that's very kind of, we can say from
True.
the COVID perspective that that is okay. That is the reason people have been
Yeah,
stressed.
because
But
people are at
because
home,
of the
they can't do that
stress,
right now.
because of the stress, people have, because we are not taught how to deal with stress, that's why people are just taking that stress on each other instead of figuring it out. That's why there has been more violence in the homes. I work at my workplace. We work with crisis team, and we work with police too. And we know that there has been very kind of 40% increases in calls from domestic violence people.
True, and like I remember reading this actually, like when I was in high school. That time, that was year 2010, and that was about 10 years ago. That was about a year before I started college. We were told that there is more increase of divorces than happy marriages. And I remember that reading at that time. That time I was going to social services. I ended up getting into law. But that was the thing we were told, and I never forgot that, because I noticed it more and more around me. Like I knew a few girls who got married at the time we were studying, and they got divorced literally like after 2 3 months. I knew girls like that, and I don't know where they are now. But it's like that doesn't end. We have an increase of divorce rate according to Canadian statistics, and that was at the time when I was a student. And 10 years later, I see this is even growing more,
It's
and it's
still the
like,
same.
yeah,
It's still the same. It hasn't changed. The reason, so the reason there are more divorce cases, we can't generalize it for sure, but from survey perspective, people have lost patience, number one. Second, ego comes into the place. And third, there is a competition.
True.
Instead of working together, husband, wife, they are trying to work who's better than whom, right?
True. And
But
that's
the
not how
relationships don't work like that. From my personal experience, if you go into a relationship thinking you're gonna gain something or get something, then
it's not gonna
forget
work.
about it. It doesn't work that way, because relationships are based on your ability to give. And what give? It's love, right?
True.
Love is all about giving, it's not about receiving. And if you go into a relationship thinking that person is going to make me whole, forget about it, because you should be whole in yourself.
True.
You
That's
should
why,
be whole.
like, self-love is first. I emphasize that a lot, actually, because one thing I've actually learned after being in a relationship, that I'm like, no, if okay, it didn't work out, yes, we're in touch, but I know I could do better. So if I make peace with my past, I know I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna get something much better. And it won't be that, oh, it's a competition. It doesn't work out like that, right? And it's like, if you have sibling rivalry, then that's a different situation, because okay, those are your siblings, you can do any jokes with them, that's fine. But if it's like with your husband and wife, you do have rivalry, that's the issue, that's going to lead up to divorce.
That is the issue, yes. And the other thing is, with relationships, when we keep too much expectations from each other, and that's when it hurts, because the more you expect, more you're going to get hurt. So instead of expecting from each other, sit with each other and ask and talk what we both can do to make it happen. And I very much advocate for people, or especially for women, if they are in any domestic violence situation, and that's a no. That's a big no. They shouldn't be tolerating that, right?
True.
If the situation is like that, if it can be solved, then there is nothing like that. But if it's gone to the point where there is physical violence,
That's
that's
a
a
problem.
no. That's a no.
And
You need to get out of that relationship then
true, because
immediately.
it's not going to work. And the thing is, it's like in every relationship overall, right? Mental health plays a part. It's like how well you know your partner, how well you know your friend, how well you know your sister, how well you know your brother, how well you know
But
your
the
colleagues,
most
right?
important thing is how well you know yourself.
I agree. I agree.
So that is the most important thing. So this is the issue. When people go into relationship thinking it will get better when
It
we are
won't.
together, it doesn't work that way. Because I have seen many examples in my work career. I have seen people um, getting married without letting the other person know that they have some mental health concerns.
True.
That
And
is
that's what we
really bad.
talked about before. Like
That's
we
really bad.
need, like, I
That
have
means you're
many.
cheating the other person, right?
True. Like I have mental health challenges. I'll be honest. Like I'm honest about that. I do. But the thing is, I'm also using my mental health challenges
Yes.
to overcome, and I use them in a good way. That's the thing too, right? So, like in a
And
way,
you need
like
to
when you're
understand
single,
that,
about that.
yes, and you need to understand that having a mental health concern is not a crime. You don't have
True.
to hide it.
It's
Why to
just you
hide
go
it?
with it,
Yes,
and
it's the same,
often
because mental health and physical health, they go together. They go side by side. If you are thinking you are a very healthy person, that means your physical and mental health, they both are healthy. If you
true.
are thinking you have only physical concern, for example, you have a really bad backache and you think you don't have any mental health concern, that's
It's
wrong.
because it's
Because most of
psychological.
the
It affects
time,
physical, right?
yes, most of the time, the backaches or any aches and pains in the body, they come from long-standing resentments. If
True.
you have resentment issues, if you haven't solved your conflicts, they get into your body in the forms of aches and pains. So this is how closely physical and mental health works. This is how your mind and body is connected so closely that they affect each other. But people need to understand that we only go, especially our community, we only go to the doctor when our blood pressure rises or when we have some problem with our
But no one
heart.
sees counselors, right? We're lacking counselors then, right? And I remember actually reading in college. I once read this one theory back when I was in my first year, is that your body and mind, they have a connection in between, and
Of course.
that's like a theory in there, right? So
Yes.
whenever you have backache, it's because your mind is overthinking, right? And often we just think, no, it's a backache, but that's not the thing at the end of the time. That's not the end of the situation. That's like,
And
no,
there is a reason behind that backache. There is a reason. The reason is it lies in your beliefs, it lies in your system that you haven't resolved.
like personally with me, like in the beginning, in the first week of 2022, I had 2 days of a headache because of something which I felt like I did not do a good job in there. And then later on, I figured out, no, it was because I was overthinking it. So I shouldn't stress myself because it's gonna hurt. It's gonna give me a headache. That is one example I had. So, anyways, I got better, but it's like it affects, right? What you think affect how you are around people and your physical health. And
Yes.
always self-love is self-care is always important.
Self love is self care, and most of the time, people take self care really wrong way. They think self care means being egoistic. They think self care means like you don't care about other people. That's not
That's
what self care is. Self care means that you understand yourself better, you love yourself, and when you love yourself, there is no way you can hate anyone else. There
true.
is no way you can go against anyone. There is no way that you can think bad about anyone because when you are content within yourself, everything is good.
And maybe you might find someone who is just like you. That's
And
the
you
thing.
always do. And you
Yeah.
always do. People, I have mentioned that in my book too. People you attract in your life is based on how you are, how you perceive yourself. I know it sounds very harsh sometimes, but
But
that is
that's
the reality. That
I
is the
agree.
reality. We
This is
always
why
attract what we are.
true, and I agree, Parm. Often on my like Instagram posts, like personally, I put a lot of things to do with self-care at times. But I feel like no, self-love should come first. The other relationships come after, right? You have to have a good relationship with yourself before you get into a relationship with anyone else,
Yes,
right?
and if your
And
relationship with yourself is good, your relationship with anyone is going to thrill.
true. And it's like then you see yourself growing. And if
Yes.
you can't love yourself first, then how do you expect the other person to give you a good response, right? That's
You
also
can't. You can't. It's whatever you give, that's gonna come back. That's
like
how law of attraction and that's how law of nature work.
you
Whatever
like
you give out, it's gonna come back. So it's up to you. If you're giving out love, love's gonna come back. But if you're pretending to give love,
it's
but
not gonna happen.
you have your intentions are not the same, then that's not gonna work.
True.
Intention is a big thing.
Like personally, like whenever like me and my siblings, like I have like my sister's 18, my brother's like 24. So we often when we discuss anything, we always talk about our self-care in between our businesses, YouTube, whatever we do. We always make sure we have time for self-care in there to watch a little bit TV, maybe like snack around a little bit, but definitely like take some time to rest. And like this is some kind of conversation. So I often ask it, okay, did you take some time for yourself? Then instead of working hard, go and take some sleep first and give yourself a break and then do the next task. Like
Yeah.
that's something. And
Yes.
my next question is, Parm, what tips do you suggest to improve mental health and relationships?
So, to improve mental health, obviously, take time for yourself. Know yourself, know your body, know your mind. Know when you are tired, know when you feel angry, know when you feel sad, and don't numb these feelings. Never. Acknowledge them and name them and then tackle them.
I agree.
Know when you feel sad and tell that, okay, I am feeling sad. let me think, what is the reason behind it? Why am I feeling sad? Whenever I feel like, sometimes you think there is no reason that I'm feeling sad without any reason. No, there is always a reason. When you feel sad, when you feel angry, or when you feel any negative emotion, pause for a second and then go back to your thought pattern, go back to your thinking pattern. Ask yourself, okay, what was I thinking in this very moment? Why am I feeling the way I am feeling? And 100 times out of 100 times, it's what you are thinking in that very moment. That's what is making you feel the way you are feeling.
True.
There
And
is,
disconnect yourself with negative people. Like I've noticed that a lot. Like for me personally, like because I do like I have like many like I do many different things, right? Because I'm part of different pageants. I'm a YouTuber, I'm a blogger. I worked as administrative assistant. I've done a different job. Like what I notice is once you leave the negative people behind and you change the atmosphere, there's so much difference in there.
yes,
And it's
yes.
good for your mental health then,
Yes,
right?
but how would you know they are negative? How
True.
would you know that it's not you who's negative, right?
True. You have to
Because
figure out that,
you
right?
are going to attract people the way you are. If you are attracting, this is, I'm not saying to you, this is in general, I'm talking,
Yeah.
it's for me too. If you are attracting very negative people in your life who are naysayers, look within yourself. Look within. What is that you need to work on yourself? Why am I attracting these kinds of people? That means there is something to be worked on in myself. That is always the key, to look within. If someone makes me angry, I usually go back to myself and think, okay, why did that make me angry?
True.
What
Like,
is
was it a
that
personal
trying
comment,
to
right?
teach me?
True.
Sorry?
Like I was gonna say, like, you're gonna think that was it a personal comment? Was it something that you did? Was it something that you were picked on? What was the
So
reason behind that, right?
the thing is, Hania, if we are very much at peace within ourselves, then what anyone else say wouldn't matter. What
True.
anyone else says, it wouldn't affect us, because why would I care what anyone says about me? Why would I care what anyone thinks about me? I know what I am. I know who I am. So it shouldn't matter. It only matters when
What you think, right?
it
It's like,
only matters when we are trying to prove ourselves based on other people's opinion. Other people's opinions are none of your business. It's their
true.
opinion, and they opinionate about you based on their personal experiences. It's nothing to do with you. So
True. I agree.
you don't have to get mad or get angry or get upset.
Yeah, just
And the other
ignore
thing,
in
yes, the
there.
other thing is, to improve your mental health and relationship is to always have a conversation,
I
to
agree. I
have
always do that
a
personally myself.
communication. And communication doesn't mean arguing. You shouldn't be listening to something in order to respond. You should be listening to something to understand it. And third is, instead of reacting to something, you should learn to respond,
I
because there is
agree.
a difference between when you react and respond. Reaction comes from when you are in your head, and
Hmm.
respond comes from when you are in your heart.
True.
So head and heart should be in coherence, and
That's
you should
actually a
be,
theory. I remember reading it once. I don't know if
yeah,
it's the same theory or not, but that is. But
yeah.
I agree with you, right? Because something like my mom tells me herself, she's like, never react whenever people are trying to degrade you, which I've noticed, right? Just keep quiet and just do your work. What they're gonna change their opinion very soon. And
So think
I
about
listened to this a
this,
lot.
think about it this way. If someone is trying to degrade you, if someone is trying to bring you down, that means where they are already down.
Yeah, and I've noticed that a lot with so many people's mentality and their mental level, it doesn't fit mine. That's why I just say, okay, like this is what you had to do with me. You wanna see this, you can see it my work as it is. Now you can just go. I know who you are. No need for your contributions anymore. This is what you say.
I was in a class with my mentor the other day, and one thing he said that stuck with me. He said, take revenge by being better.
I agree. This is why I don't seek revenge, like from
Yes.
anyone. I feel like no, this is gonna come back, so I don't have to worry about it.
No.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
you be
and
a better version of yourself too.
exactly. And when you become the better version, best version of yourself, that's what you're going to attract. People out there who are single, who are trying to attract spouses or girlfriends, boyfriends, or
True.
whoever they are trying to attract, know that you are going to attract what you are.
True.
So
I
if
agree.
you want to attract something better, then
Have a
become
positive
that.
mindset, right?
Then become that. Whatever you want to, make a list of all the qualities that you want in your partner and start working on yourself on those qualities.
True. I
As you
agree.
start developing those qualities, it wonders happen. You will notice that you will get those people in your life with the same qualities because we attract what we are.
I agree. And it's like, you want to make the better version of yourself first before meeting anyone too.
Of
Because we
course.
don't we don't realize that, like, even when you go for a job interview, right? Let's say with your colleagues, right? If you're gonna be saying negative things, and somehow later on some person might give a negative comment to you sometime. You don't know where, right? So it's you have to be careful at the same time. And some people, like, there's gonna be like all types at the same time too, right? That you deal with. And it's like you go for a job interview pretty much everywhere, right? People are gonna ask you, oh, what's your skills, what's that, like, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to, let's say, networking. That's one of them, right? So, like, I can relate to you what you're saying, right? It's kind of like in that way. And then my next question is, Parm, would you like to share your social media handles? Where can viewers find your amazing book, and where to find you, and if they need any help? And at the time of pandemic, I know there's a lot of people having relationship like challenges. So maybe you can guide viewers on that where they can
Yes,
contact you.
I definitely can. My book is available on Amazon, so you can order it from Amazon. It's only $8 for the copy, and it's also available in audio version, and it's also available in Kindle version. So whatever you like. And second thing is, I am on Facebook, Parm Sran, and I have my YouTube channel, Coach and Speaker Parm Sran. You can find me there too. I'm on Instagram, Queen Param. You can find me there too. And yeah, and I am very much open and happy to help if anyone needs help, especially in this pandemic period. And I would like to announce this, Hania. I always do free counseling sessions for international students.
Oh, that is amazing. And often
Yes,
it's and often right now, because of the lockdown, we can see that often like international students need somewhere to go to, need someone to talk to.
yes. There has been so many cases about international students that I hear. The only thing is they don't come forward to take help, to get help. Maybe it's a hesitation or maybe it's money. So I just want to let everyone know, any international students, if you are hearing this, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, please feel free to contact me. I don't charge international students for any counseling sessions. I'm happy to help you guys. And yeah, and at the end, I would like to say, Hania,
Yeah.
I would like to give four tips to people
Yes,
based
sister.
on my name.
Viewers would like to know.
Based on my name, so PARM. So P is for positive thinking. I don't I don't say that you don't have negative thoughts, because thoughts keep coming, going, right? We can't force them.
True. It's
But
just that's why
for
we have to be
every
cautious.
negative thought,
There's something positive.
think about a positive thought, so that how you can do that, if you are paying attention to what you are thinking, then only you will be able to catch it. So think before you think. So stay positive.
I
A
agree.
is an attitude of gratitude. Develop a habit of being thankful for every little thing in your life, because if you start counting from the time you open your eyes, you wake up, that is the time to be grateful. That is the time to be thankful, because there are so many people, they go to bed and they don't wake up in the morning. So to
I
have a life is the biggest gratitude. That's the biggest gift.
True. And
So
even if you're single, make the most of it. Like often we have these discussions. Like I noticed like with one of my cousins, she's in Alberta. She's all like we often discuss about being single, but then we were like we both end up at the same time. We're like, no, we're gonna make the best of our single life. Doesn't matter about how many relationships have gone wrong and all. Whatever you do with yourself, make it good, right?
I
So
don't
I
know,
agree.
I don't understand why people think that, oh my God, I'm single. Guys, this life is your life. Live it to the fullest. Doesn't matter if you are attached to someone or not. You should be happy within yourself. And if you are not happy within yourself, that means you don't like your own company. Then improve your company.
True.
Improve
I agree.
yourself, right? If you
And you were
don't like
saying,
being alone, that means there's something wrong with you. So work on that.
yeah,
Work
I
on
agree. Because
yourself.
we had the discussion a few times, and in there also, my brother like he does a business, so he was also talking about himself, and my sister was, and we're like at the end of the time, at the end of the whole, and then when we were done like walking around, we're at the end, we're like, no, we're single, we're gonna make the best of it. We don't care. So that was our
Course, it doesn't matter. We come single into this life, we go single. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't
true,
matter. Just enjoy every moment of it. And
true,
R is be responsible. Be responsible. Take responsibility of your life. Do not blame anyone else for anything that's gone wrong into your life. That is the key. When you start taking responsibility that whatever happened in your life
their
is
life
your
changes.
responsibility, you stop living in the victim mode. And when you come out of the victim mode, the life starts serving you.
True.
And
I've
M,
heard it from a few people with that kind of mindset before, that some of the people I know that advertise me, they said the same thing. They're like, it's just once you take responsibility for your actions, own it, then
yes,
no one is there to, no one is gonna come up to you.
because you can blame anyone, right? And when
Yeah.
you don't blame anyone, that means you are not living as a victim.
Hmm.
And M is mindfulness. Be mindful. That there is a single full in mindful, and there is a double L in mindful.
I
So make
agree.
sure you are not with the double L, you're with single L.
And mindful meaning
Mindfulness,
as
right?
self-care, other relationships, yourself, and how you perceive yourself, right?
So mindfulness can be done in any way. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be
Mhm.
mindful of what you eat. Be mindful of what you watch. Be mindful what you watch, what you read. Be mindful what you feed your mind, and be mindful how you talk to yourself. Be mindful how you talk about yourself. And mindfulness is like mindfulness means taking time for yourself, and you can do that while doing everything. Be mindful when cooking. Pay
Yep.
attention to the cooking. Be mindful when you're eating. Just enjoy eating. Nowadays people have this kind of a trend that I am a multitasker. That's a really wrong trend. You can't be a multitasker and excel at anything, because when you're multitasking, that means you're not paying attention to any single thing. Your attention is divided, and so is your energy, so you're not good at anything. So stop being
Like doing one step
multitasker.
at a
Just
time, right?
do, yes, do one thing at a time, and be mindful in what you are doing. So
Like
these are
with
my
me,
four.
with
Yeah,
personally with me, my job just ended like a few weeks ago, right? So I figured out, okay, if I'm gonna look for a job, then isn't it better I upgrade myself first and then look for a job? So I
perfect.
decided to go back to school, and
Yeah,
I'm back in college right now. And I figured out, no, I'm gonna be mindful of myself first, then I'm gonna go out there and hopefully I'll get another job by the probably by February. I'll be somewhere working with. That's how
yeah,
I have the goal in my mind. Okay,
yeah.
this is what I want to do. This year I know I'm gonna make the best of it. So this is, so I'm gonna take one thing at a time. I'm gonna leave the job portion for now. I'm still trying to figure out how to work on other things. Yes, I'm doing that, but let me upgrade myself first, then I go back into the job first. So
Yeah.
that's the way how I'm taking it. When you mentioned that I could relate to you on that.
Yeah.
yeah, that mindfulness is like, it's a lot of things. It's not just like one thing that, okay, you just relax. There are a billion other things in there that you have to be mindful of.
Yeah, and to do mindfulness, you don't have to sit and close your eyes. You can be mindful in every single moment. And when you start living your life, being mindful of your life, then the life becomes a well worth for. Life is well worth for, but then you start loving your life more. Then you start acknowledging yourself more. Then you won't feel a need to be attached or to someone. You won't even feel a need to be in a relationship if you are happy within yourself. And
Because
once you are happy within yourself, then
that's,
you're gonna attract the person anyway. You're gonna attract the right person anyway.
like, I agree. Like, being like having a good, having self-care and self-love comes first, then comes everything else. So I totally agree with you. I go with that motive.
Yeah.
Like, that's why, like, I always take out to at least have, like, I tell others too, but I personally like take some time out to have a little few minutes to myself, then I do something else because I know I need to recharge at some point, right? Because we all like do about a billion different things at home, at work. You need a little bit of time for yourself too, right? If you cannot get that relaxation, how are you supposed to do your next task? You need a break, right?
You have to have a time for yourself, not a little bit time. You have to have a chunk of your time for yourself. For that, you can always make your habit of getting up early. Give yourself at least 1.5 hours in the morning just for yourself, to no one else. That's the way to do it. Because when you set your mind up in the morning, when you are relaxed in the morning, that's how your day is going to go. The way you start your morning is the way you start your day, the way
With a
that day
positive
goes,
mindset. With me, it's
right?
like I make a coffee and then I think, okay, this is what I think I have to do today, and I get started working. And that's how my day goes at the end. At the end of the time, the end of the day, like I literally have like a deep sleep. Like literally for past few months, I've been getting deep sleep because every day I'm doing something different. Like
Yeah.
every day I'm like always working on something. And I think you can relate to it too, because you're an author, you're just a nurse, and you're a mental health advocate, and you're also an actress. Is like which movie it was that you were recently part of? You might want to tell the viewers that before we just sign off.
The name was just the Jew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was based on ghazal in
Oh,
Hindi, Urdu, and that's where I acted on. But the theme of that movie was a person going through mental health challenges, how when they are outside with people, they are pretending to be okay and
but
they're
that's not
doing
the
what they
case.
need to be doing. But when they are home alone, then the shadows start coming, right? And how to look after yourself in those scenarios.
I agree. And I agree with what we have discussed and what we shared with the viewers about mental health and relationships. I just want to say thank you, Parm, so much for coming on my show. It was a pleasure to have you. And after our long exchange of emails, you finally came on my show. It's a pleasure to have you. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching uh, the Hunyah Show. And also be sure to like and subscribe to my Parm's YouTube channel. Definitely check out Parm's book, the one about mental health and its challenges and everything. And be sure to follow Parm on Facebook, Instagram, and all these things. And be sure to tune into Hunyah Travels, Hunyah Show. And be sure to look out for the episode coming in soon, the next episode. And bye, everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Hania. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.